back to another episode of the Winner's Culture where we like to highlight the journey to success, not the glory that you often see. As always, I got my co-host with me. To my right.
Hey y'all, it's Bondi.
Then to my left.
It's just JJ.
And then I'm just Daryl, y'all. 1 R, 1 Y, 1 L. Please don't mess that up. So as always, I normally tell you we got a special episode, but I'd be lying if I told you it was special. Today is going to be a legendary episode, man, to say the least. A legendary episode. The entrepreneur that we have with us hails from Greenburgh, New York. Woo, 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5 children at the age of 14 years old was exposed to his passion, and he hasn't looked back since. He's had hands in a bunch of businesses. Some you might have heard of, Earn Your Leisure, EYL Network, EOY University, InvestFest, the list could go on. But nonetheless, a great person, a great individual, a fiance, father as well. We got Michael J. MacDonald in the building with us.
How you feeling? Good brother.
How you feeling?
Appreciate it.
How you feeling?
Thank you for having me. How you feeling today?
I'm great, man. I'm here with y'all, man. I'm like, this is bringing back memories.
And we really appreciate. We gotta get a little bit of the backstory about how this came about. So we had the pleasure of going to InvestFest just last week, a legendary event. And when I say legendary, yes. I didn't even understand how legendary, like the magnitude. Like to put this in perspective, when I came through the door, it looked like an airport security line.
Yes.
The line went.
Yes.
The line went around.
Yes.
We apologize. We apologize. We're working on logistics. We're gonna make it better. We
was in the convention center, Atlanta Convention Center, Congress Center. We came in the door. It wrapped around. Then it wrapped around.
Then it went down the hallway.
And wrapped around.
And they came back.
You see what I'm saying? And so at this point, I realized this is something special. You feel what I'm saying?
It's called EYL effect.
Yeah.
We've been running with that for a while. It's the EYL effect, man.
For sure.
And by the time I actually got in, I just sat down. I was just looking for a place to sit down. And so I sat at this bar, and I sat next to this gentleman right here. And D came up to me like, yo, you know who that is? And I'm like, no, I don't think I've seen him before. He's like, that's Michael MacDonald.
Like, bro, you don't even know who you sitting next to right now.
He's like, that's Michael MacDonald. I'm like, Michael MacDonald, he the other founder of Earn Your Leisure.
Yeah, brains behind the operation for sure. Run
So
business
crazy,
the whole 9 yards.
You never know who you know.
Never know who you sit next to. So we spoke to him, and he was just cool. I was like, how's the event? What's going? He just on his laptop, chilling, working. That was on Friday. And then on Sunday, after having this legendary experience, seeing Steve Harvey and Diddy,
Robert F. Smith,
some of the richest black people that you've ever heard of, that the world's ever heard of, we saw them again on our way out of the marketplace with all these black businesses. And we just went to speak, just to tell them, like, you really did your thing. Like, this was amazing.
Appreciate it.
And before leaving, somebody taught me before, just always ask for knowledge, always get more knowledge. So I asked him, like, you have Earn Your Leisure, we have the Winner's Culture, how do we scale up? And he said, be different and be consistent. And then Daryl, like, how do we get on this stage next year?
That's what I'm about.
He said, interview me. So we like, whoa.
What? Serious?
We like, whoa, we living said that.
He said, get me on the pod.
He said, get me on the pod. So now we just in shock trying to take that in. But long story short, now we here, man.
Now you're gonna hold me to that.
and we really appreciate it, man.
We gonna work for it.
We really appreciate that. So we gonna get into it.
We ain't gonna waste no time. The people are anxious to hear it. So we know you 1 out of 5 children. 1 out of 5 children. You said y'all grew up in low income housing. Familiar with what we would call the hood. Could you just paint us a picture of what childhood was like for you?
I mean, I got a bio that makes it seem like it was that was ChatGPT making it seem like it was really, really bad, but it was. I mean, it was like I grew up. I'm an '80s baby, so
gotcha.
The crack epidemic was crazy at that time. So I do remember walking to the bus because the bus was like we had to go to one location and catch the bus.
Yeah.
And I remember always seeing like crack pipes and the little glass pipes with the colors on them and stuff. So I remember all that. But my projects was like dope, like because we was very friendly. Like it was not like we hated against each other. Like some projects, like this building don't mess with this building.
Right.
Fortunate enough for us, we all got along. Like Greenburgh was a great place to raise your children, your kids. And on top of that, I have lifelong friends. Like my friends are the friends I had when I was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is the same friends I have now. Like I circle my circle is pretty small. I'm not actually comfortable with like bringing new people into my life.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty hard for me. I'm trying to get better at it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was definitely like, you know, drugs and fighting and, all that stuff. Like, it was the same thing, but it was a good place to be raised. It was I don't want to say it's the slums, but it was definitely the projects.
Right.
It was low income housing. But it was the people that made it better. Like the people that was inside my projects made my experience growing up better, and I could trust them. Like I trust them with my life to this day. So it was a learning experience, but it was definitely an experience that I said I can't have this for the rest of my life. So I started looking outside, trying to expose myself to different things, and ever since like what 1920 21 I've been living in like luxury developments, so I just couldn't, I wanted more for myself.
You was moving fast.
Yo, man, listen.
He had to get up out that situation.
Yeah. No, it's good that you
Projects
said
to do
that.
that to you.
Right.
For sure.
So in the projects, like in general in America, we know that class mobility is not usually a thing, especially for black people. Like it's very hard for people to go from poor to middle class to upper class. Were there people that you saw, was it role models, or what experiences led you to be a business minded?
Well, that's why I would say it was one of my faults, is that I gotta see someone do something before I do it. But once I see it, I'm exposed. You can't unsee what you've seen, right? So when, like I had like one of my friends, like early on, in my young 20s, this guy had a Rolex watch, he had a beautiful house and all that, and I met him because I was selling him a computer, because I used to work as an Apple specialist, and I sold him a computer.
I can relate.
And that's how I met him. And he's like, yo, can I pay you to come set up my computer?
Right.
And I was like off the thing, but we became friends for that. Like, he's actually my business partner to this day.
Wow.
But we became friends, but I go see his house, I'm like, damn, he's got this nice house, he got the nice car, he got the watches, I'm like, I seen it.
Right.
I seen it. It's open. Now I know. Because I was living in the Bronx at this time. And I'm like, it's on and popping now. I seen it. So I started to want more. I'm like, why would you spend $40,000 for a watch? You crazy?
Right, at the time.
Yeah, because I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? But now I realized, I started to research it, started to understand it, that life it's not what I was seeing.
Right.
So I said, I was exposed to it. That was one of my moments where I was like, I need more. Watching MTV Cribs, that was something that was giving me insight, like, things like that, like exposure, man. Like I was exposed to those little things, but I don't know if I ever had a role model, like, my brothers are probably my role models. Like I always looked up to my brothers, and my sister, like they all taught me a little bit of something. Me being the youngest out of all my siblings, I learned a little bit from each of them. Right, and I took what I wanted from each of them, and I developed Michael J. MacDonald.
So how was you learning your hustles? Like where was you getting like?
So like if you read my bio, like 14 years old, like I started working on my brother's computer, and he showed me Photoshop. Yeah. And that's when I like learned like how to do flyers and logos and stuff like that. So at 14 years old, I'm hustling logos, I'm hustling flyers, I'm hustling all that, But how I learned, I just want more. I don't like having no money. Like some people can walk around with no money. When I have no money, I don't know how to. I don't know how to not show that I don't have no money. If I have no money, you don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. So I just had no money, and like I wanted to buy the new Jordans, I wanted to buy food, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that, I wanted to take somebody on a date. You can't do that with no money.
Right.
My mom's ain't have it. She got 5 kids. You know what I'm saying? And she was a waitress, so she only could dupe us so much.
Right.
My allowance was probably $20 a week.
Right.
What you gonna do with $20 a week? So I started working at a place called Sport Time, and I was working there from 14 to 20 years old. That's my longest job to date. I've never had a job longer than like a year after that job. So that job was I was going to basketball practice. And going to work, basketball game, going to work. So I was doing it was crazy. It was it might be something in me, but the motivation behind it was I didn't like having no money. You know what I'm saying? I don't like depending on nobody else. Like I don't like someone having my decision that I want to do is in someone else's hand.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Right.
That's why I've been an entrepreneur for so long. That's why I can't work. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Having a boss.
Yeah.
Dame Dash said it the best. I look like I'm a grown man calling somebody else a boss. You know what I'm saying? It's real So it's
Makes
like,
sense.
I don't want my son calling nobody else they're his boss. You crazy?
Right.
But some people okay with it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just not,
Yeah.
and that's why it was just instilled in me to like, listen, you gotta go get it,
Yeah.
because nobody else gonna do it for you.
Yeah.
Like you gonna do it for yourself.
That makes sense. It's crazy because even we was talking to Wall Street at Nehemiah said his street being renamed. Trap was saying that one of the main things he always says is if you give him permission to feed you, you give him permission to starve
That's a
you.
fact.
And I'm like, when you think about it, that
It's
makes
on his wall
so
in his
much
studio.
sense. So
It's
it
on
makes
his
so much
wall.
sense. Like he lives.
I actually
by
got a picture of that in my phone when I went to the studio. I said, because that's real.
Yeah. So one of the other questions we wanted to ask, like even with what we was talking about, and I guess I'll open it up to the floor. Do y'all think that the childhood traumas or even experiences could impact your work ethic or your drive as an adult?
Absolutely,
You think so?
for sure.
For me personally, my childhood was like I was an athlete, so like the work ethic is you always practicing, you always
Right.
going, like you always got something to do. You go to school, you go to practice,
Right.
you run it back, and that's
Right.
every day. So when athletics was over for me, the mentality was still there though. It was still like I got to keep going, I got to grind, I got to be prepared, the whole thing that went into playing sports, because that's all I knew. Like from a little, I started playing when I was like 4. So me personally, definitely that was the aspect of my environment that stuck with me the most.
I definitely relate to you on the like you don't like being broke because like my family was from the project, so the nasty environment, but ours was like the slums, pissing the elevators,
Yeah.
bars on the windows, bulletproof glass for the front attendant. So it's like seeing that as
This
a
in
little
Philly?
girl at that. As a little girl, it's just me and my mom and my sister, just 3 of us, all women at that. So,
Yeah.
and once you move out of the projects, we only like went to the hood, which was better, but it's still the hood. Once you get out, that 1 foot out, you just want to keep stepping forward. And it's like seeing so much as a kid really impacted the work ethic and the drive and the grind, and just like, even if it's a little step forward, it's still forward. You
Yeah,
know?
and to go on that, the trauma is there from your childhood. And what I learned personally, and it's unfortunate that in our culture, in our community, that we frown upon mental health. Like we don't really understand mental health, and we frown upon if we have a therapist and if we have like therapy. Like I was in therapy for like 5 years. Like I'm gonna go back into therapy, but I think everybody should be in therapy. Like because it's that professional opinion. Like your friends, no matter what, they're gonna give like an emotional opinion. And anytime you make decisions with your emotions, or you have somebody talk to you with their emotion, 9 out of 10 times not gonna be the right thing said, because emotions involved. You never want to make any decisions with emotions. But when you're speaking to a therapist, they're not talking from what you're saying or how they know you. They're just speaking from their from education, from their experiences.
Right.
They're talking with they're giving you an educated response. And we need to, as a community, really embrace therapy, because we all need it, especially coming from the places we've come from, seeing people get shot and things like that. Like that's trauma. Like that don't go away. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember I moved here 5 years ago. People used to come to my house with guns. I was like scared, like get out of here, like you know what I'm saying? Like I had to break that, like become comfortable with just having guns around me, like because it's like it's all free out here. You see a gun in New York,
Something different.
So, but that comes from a trauma, just seeing guns in New York, growing up. So definitely, like I just think like you need to seek therapy, like to really like become one with the things that you've gone through, and then take that and see how it relates. What happened in your past, it relates now, and how you can change it. Like for every problem, it's a solution. And I think therapy gives a lot of solutions to a lot of the things that happened in your past.
Did you go through anything? Like, did you go through any traumas that had you feeling like you wasn't?
Well, my first trauma was losing my grandmother at 8 years old. That was the first trauma, and then I lost my mom at 21. So those were and I lost my cousin a few months after that, and that was like my like best friend growing up through a car crash. Both my cousin and my best friend, they died in a car crash. So that was like at 22 or 23. So all these things happened. So death has been. My trauma started with death. So I've always been scared to die since 8 years old. Like I've been afraid to die. So now I have a kid. I'm like, nah, I really can't die.
You got something really.
I gotta be here. So that's why losing weight was so important to me, because I know how my mom made me feel when she passed. I don't want to make him feel like that. I want to make sure he's good
That's what you're saying.
before I leave this earth. I want to make sure everything's in place. Like he's good and stuff like that. Like I don't want to let him down. Not that my mom let me down. I mean, she dealt with a lot. She been through a lot. So but she did a great job. I mean, she raised all these kids, and we pretty much turned out pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Did you ever feel like you was going to be a product of your environment, or did you always know that you was going to make it out of that situation?
I mean, I don't smoke weed.
Uh-huh.
I ain't drink until like 29 years old. So I never did what everybody else did. I always did my own thing. Like I remember playing with toys by myself. And I'd be seeing my son, he'd be having a blast with his stuff. He'd be in his playing with his toys and just laughing and giggling. Right. That was like me. Like I know how to have a good time. Like I don't need someone else to make me have a good time. Right? So it goes with the same thing. I don't really need enjoyment. I don't have to fit in like to do this so I can be cool with you. Yeah. It's either you're gonna like me or not.
Right.
I'm a genuine person. I'm straight up. Like me or not, I'm not gonna do something for you to like me.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah. So when you was on your journey, you started to do the flyers. You were doing all of the things that you were doing. Do you think were any specific moments or any, I guess, particular things that you could recall that prepared you for launching something like EYL?
Well, we started like 3 or 4 businesses. We started Jock Drive. We started a real estate investment company. We started a fashion company.
Wow.
We started a lot of companies, right? So I definitely think those different experiences helped us with Earn Your Leisure. But it really wasn't Earn Your Leisure. It was the first business, the first part of Earn Your Leisure was making Rashad the #1 financial literacy, the financial advisor on the internet. Mm-hmm. That was the first goal.
That's how y'all went into it thinking?
We didn't know about Earn Your Leisure. I mean, Earn Your Leisure wasn't a thing, but the first goal was working on Rashad Bilal being the #1 financial advisor on the internet. That was the first goal. Mission accomplished. Mm-hmm. But as he was growing, people said, "Yo, I want more information. You ain't got a podcast or nothing." And that's when he was like, "Yo, let's do this podcast. What we gonna call it?" They were using the Earn Your Leisure hashtag for a while, but Rashad never really liked that name. And then Troy was like, just brought it back up because Troy came up with Earn Your Leisure. He brought it back up, and it's like, yo, let's just go with it. And it just popped. It was like wildfire. It just kept going crazy. So, and that's when Earn Your Leisure birthed. But all our experiences, like Troy came from education, Rashad comes from financial, I come from media. It was like you couldn't put this puzzle together perfect. Better. All the parts. Like every piece of the puzzle was there. Mm-hmm. And then we had our family and friends that were added to that puzzle and supported it and being those pieces that we needed. You know what I'm saying? So it was a perfect song. It was like you couldn't write this hit better. Like 3 kids, childhood friends from Greenburgh, New York, launched the biggest media company in the world.
Fire.
You think that came with any, or could you share some of the sacrifices that came with, like to grow this?
I mean, we sacrificed friends. I mean, I went broke. I was fucked up. Cause
while Earn Your Leisure was happening?
While in those 18 months that we weren't taking any money in because we were putting all the money back in into the podcast. Like we didn't take any money out. We were investing them back into the company because the #1 goal is building the brand. And that's the problem with small brands. They start taking from the pot before you're supposed to. And when you take from the pot before you're supposed to, you're taking away your opportunities. Like if you say you made $1,000, right? And you spend that $1,000. So now you don't have any money, but you get a call, you got to interview Michael Jordan. You ain't got no money to get to Michael Jordan, right? You're taking away that opportunity. So we were always putting money in because we knew that all these different things, whether it was upgrading the cameras, whether it was upgrading the mics, we were doing it one by one. So, like slowly but surely we were doing it. But during those 18 months, like I was doing so much for Earn Your Leisure. Like I was doing so much. Like I was doing the operations. It was just really us 3 in the beginning. I was doing operations. I was doing the production. I was doing marketing. I was doing managing. I was doing the bookings. I was doing everything.
What?
Like I was
By
doing.
yourself?
Yeah, it was just so. What happens? I had my own business, like my business on the side before Earn Your Leisure, and I had all these clients. I'm taking away all this time from these clients. What you think they doing? Leaving. I gotta go somewhere else. So I was just kind of like running out of money, like because I was just putting so much time in Earn Your Leisure. But I seen the vision, and then when I say I seen the vision, I didn't see it this big. I'm not gonna lie. but I seen a vision. I seen like this could change our lives and our families' lives.
Right.
So I was like, it's okay to lose these little wins for this big one, and it turned out like
Massive.
Did you get your old people back from that left, or?
I mean, I don't really like you.
I don't know what they doing.
The thing is that they understand like what I was working on. They understood it, and I was real with them. Like I really like this is something gonna, and now they see the growth of it. A couple of them reached out, and I put them on to like other people I know. But me, as far as like, I haven't built this. Like I'm in the process of building a system where I could take on people like and make another earning leisure, not another earning leisure, but something like another great thing. Like my fiance, she came to me like we started off a business relationship. I know I'm capable of taking people to the next level.
Right.
I know how to do that because I've seen it 5 or 6 times over and over again, and we've done it like over and over again. But I met her in say May. We started talking in like August or something like that, or July. And you know, I was speaking to her. She's like, I'm like, yo, you need to build your brand up and stuff like that, and do this thing, because she doesn't know business at all. She had no clue, and I was like, if we could just do this, and this, and this, we'd be good. And then within like a month, she's made $1 million, like of all the things I placed into her thing. You know what I'm saying? Like that, literally
Just
a month.
this, and this.
Like just change it, because a lot of people have a lot of opportunities to monetize their self, their brand, and all these different things, but it's not until you put things in place to be able to monetize. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta just lay out the blueprint. This is what I'm trying to do. Like I just have to make it a little simpler, where I don't have to put too many hands on it, or have a team to do that, because I don't have the capacity to do that at the moment.
Right.
So, but I do want to start doing it. That's why I've been creating systems. Like, so what I've been doing is I've been journaling everything I do. So, and I'm almost finished with journaling everything I did and everything I do.
Okay.
So now I documented it. I'm in the process of writing it into like a workbook, a user manual, right? So now I could just say boom to a business, and now they could just follow this manual,
Right. That's the
and
strategy.
it makes it simple for them to grow.
That makes sense. You know, it's actually interesting that you said that, because we were talking and we said we know that like marketing strategies will normally change quarterly. But could you speak to like, I guess, the differences between the initial maybe marketing strategies at EYL and what that may look like now?
Well, the easiest way to do this, right, is that, again, our number one goal was to do something different.
Right.
That was our number one goal, always doing different things. Now, sometimes it didn't hit, sometimes it hit. But your analytics is where you find out what hits and what doesn't hit. And we weren't, like, when you own your own platform, you can do what the hell you want.
Right.
You don't have to ask questions. You don't have to worry about this or worry about that. We literally did what we wanted. Whether that was Rashad sitting on top of a roof talking about financial literacy,
Right.
or we at a conference and we only using cell phones to record, not main cameras. We were always able to take those risks because we didn't have to answer to nobody else. We were in control of our own destiny.
Right.
So now if I'm taking I got a really nice camera and I'm doing a video of me and doing an ad, and it only gets 1,000 views, but then I use a cell phone footage and it gets 10,000 views. Which one are you gonna keep using?
Yourself.
You know what I'm saying? So it was things like that. Like you kind of have to adjust and see where the market's going. Like
Okay.
I seen that the courses are gonna die down,
Okay.
right? So now what do you have to do? The problem with courses is that people pay for a course, but only 20% of the people that pay for that course actually go through the whole course.
Right.
So now what's the solution? The solution is getting people to really go through the course so they can actually put the education into execution.
Right.
And that's that's what I'm trying to think about. How can we come up with the solution? What's the solution? You gotta probably do more like group sessions, and you go through the whole course, and you make people accountable, right? So if I say at 7 p.m. we're going through this part of the course on Wednesday. Next Wednesday we're going through this part. So now you're making people accountable, and you're doing it as a community,
Right.
and now you get more people to go through the course.
Right.
Because if you really believe in your product, you really believe in your course or whatever, if people go through it, they're going to become more successful. The goal is you bought that course because you want to change your life. You want to get to the next level. Now, you may need that hand to pull you through.
Right.
And that's going to be the solution to this course thing.
Like real school, like how real school.
You gotta
is,
pull 'em
like,
through.
Yeah.
Like
You gotta
how
pull 'em
many
through.
professors,
That makes
like,
sense.
You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense. That's kind of how you structured it.
That's how EOY
Yeah,
University
that's how you
is.
structured it. That makes sense then, to do it that way. Because before that, you buy it, you on your own.
Yeah, you just go through the courses, and which is good. That's how I learn.
Okay.
But everybody's not self-motivated.
That's
you know,
true.
some people need a hand to pull them through. Like, again, I just don't like being broke, so I had to learn. Like, I went to college, but I ain't really learned nothing in college. I learned everything buying courses. And I've been buying courses for damn 15 years.
Yeah.
You know, like I messed up on audio, and I had to buy. I bought like a $3,000 course, and I stayed in the room until I finished it, until I understood it, until I felt comfortable with. I don't care what the sound, what's going on in this room. I'm gonna know how to make it sound good.
Right.
That makes sense.
So, talking about monetizing your platform, how early on did y'all find ways to monetize, and how did you go about finding like your ad agencies and things like that?
Well, one thing about ad agencies is that they're not gonna even talk to you until you have a certain amount of views.
Okay.
And I think I don't know if the number changed, but when we were searching, we needed 100,000 views per week. Now it's very complicated how this works, but if you put in 4 episodes, like you put one episode out in like 4 clips, whatever that week's downloads is, that's what your download week is. It's not per episode. So people kind of get confused with that, right?
Okay.
So now monthly we getting like 4 million views a month,
Yeah.
but it's not. We only put out 4 episodes. It's not 1 million per episode.
Right.
It's all the
the
different
content.
clips and everything we're putting in. So the goal is you get this episode, right? You might get 4 or 5 clips. You put those 4 or 5 clips out in that same week. That's your download for the week, and that's how you increase your downloads, and that's how you get into these agencies to get ad money. But one of our agencies that we work with, it was really relationships. One of our friends knew a guy that had an agency. He was a black-owned agency. He wanted to work with,
Black-owned brands.
Wow.
I don't really like the term black-owned because I don't think we're a black company. We're a company. We're a media company.
Right.
But he, it was a relationship, and he was able to get us like big brands like MacDonald's and all these different brands paying, premium dollar to attach to our audience.
Wow.
And that's one way, like really relationships. That's the best way it's gonna do it. Best way you're gonna do it. But another way is this is what people don't really speak about. Go into whatever industry you're in. Go listen to the top 20 podcasts. Go listen to all the brands that are advertising on those top 20 podcasts. Get that information. See what companies. A lot of them are gonna be agencies. But actually, some of them are just you're gonna meet you. Like, I work with such and such company. You reach out to them, give them a crazy deal they can't offer. You show results, they're gonna keep advertising with you. And that's we don't lose advertisers ever because we got results.
Absolutely.
I mean, y'all put 20,000 in that building, so I'm sure the pull it there.
Yeah, and that's how you monetize your podcast. But like, you gotta like go with what's in front of you, right? Like, I know all you guys know somebody that owns a business.
Yeah.
What is it just saying, give me $500, I'll put you in 5 episodes. Whatever. It's anything helps in the beginning. Anything helps. But just going to those people like a car wash or whatever, like if you remember, Wallow and Gilly was advertising like a auto shop and all that
Shaving
stuff. In the
kits.
beginning on, like he was advertising his girlfriend's hair business.
Yeah.
Just think, like go directly to all these people. He made a little flyer and had his little ad prices and advertising them. Like, you got to think outside the box. Nobody's really, people forgetting that hand to hand and face to face is still a thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like when we met face to face.
Right.
Email might have took longer. I answer every email. I try my best to do that. But now when you got face to face, look, a week later I'm here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, don't think that face to face, going into a clean and saying, listen, I get such and such views. I'm gonna give you a crazy deal. Like, listen, I got 1,000 people listening in Philly. Give me such and such, and I'll put your ad on thing. Just simple things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like we get away from that. You know what I'm saying? We're scared to like get our hands dirty and get in front of people.
Okay. So now, right, you've scaled up to monumental, legendary numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
With EOY University, with InvestFest, with Earn Your Leisure, just the podcast. You being behind the scenes, what does the operations look like? How do y'all keep that going? Like, what does that?
Well, the best part of our business and the best thing that happened to me was we delegated. We delegated a lot of responsibilities. We got like AB, he does the operations now. He's our COO. He takes care of all the scheduling. He takes care of all the things that have to do with the daily responsibilities. Got my brother Vincent. He deals with the merch. He's the head of merch. He's our partner with merch. I don't have to deal with that. I used to press merch in my house. That was a real thing. I was pressing the merch in my house.
Wow.
My brother, my other brother, Richard, he does all the clips. He does the YouTubes. We delegated all those things. Then you got, Troy's wife, she does the finances, she does the transfers. I ain't gotta do transfers no more. She does she's doing everything. She takes the numbers and put them into the quick, give them to the CPA or whatever. You know, I don't gotta do all that no more. But all these little things around the business that I was doing. You know, you got Magna who handles EOY University. Right. We partnered with Marcus. Now we got a whole 15, 20 employees with EOY University. Right. But the goal was when you scale, you can't scale by yourself. You have to bring people in and take things off your plate, and you do it what you're great at. You know what I'm saying? So that was probably the best thing, and that was the thing that allowed us to get to the next level, is delegating, giving people responsibilities. But I will say this, you want to make sure that when you give something to someone, they really enjoy doing it. And you really want them to really enjoy doing it, because if they don't enjoy doing it, it won't be an enjoyable experience for them, and they won't give you the results you need. So it's been times where we put people in place and we had to take them out of this place to put them here. We definitely tried to make it work with our people first.
Right. Yeah. That was something that we talked about when we was walking through the food truck section. We were talking about that, like how do you guys evaluate who to trust or who to put in position, and then to make sure that it would be fruitful for you guys, because you know you definitely want to be able to delegate so that you guys can continue to scale. But how do you guys evaluate on such a massive level who I can trust over this, who I can put in a position?
Well, with childhood friends, so the trust was there. That's the number one thing we got with us. Yeah. Whether or not I know Rashad's not gonna steal from me. I know Troy's not gonna steal from me, and they know I'm not gonna steal from them. Right. So the trust was always there. Right. Like they trust me with their lives, with their kids, with their money, everything. Right. Like, and I'm the one who was setting up the businesses and setting up the accounts. Right. So I have access to everything. Right. So and they trust me with that. It was even times where they didn't have access because they have to come to Atlanta and sign on to become a part of the account. You know what I'm saying? So everything was like, our trust was because we knew each other. Now, I ain't gonna say I trust people, because I don't. Right. I trust people I grew up with. Like I said, in the beginning, I trust my childhood friends with my life. Right. You know what I'm saying? So the trust, that's how it was easy to get over the trust. People come in and want access to all that stuff. We don't give access to nothing. Of course. Right. Like once in a while, we might give you access, but limited for a limited amount of time. And I do not like giving access to my stuff, because we busted our ass. We worked hard for this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the most important thing in any of this is a data. If you ain't collecting data right now, you got to start today collecting data. Whether that's putting a website out and doing a little form, your name, your email, your city, and phone number, or doing a free networking event. And that actually helped us grow too. We was doing free networking events all around the country, and we was getting the data. We was getting all the data. We were doing it free.
That first one was in LA, right?
And I was on we just did that on the weekend. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
Wow. So I feel like we talked a lot about this first 18 months. So I just wanted people to get a clear picture of what that first 18 months was, because y'all wasn't taking nothing out. So was the money going to marketing? Were y'all doing live events? Were y'all going places to do anything?
It was going into. I mean, we didn't do paid marketing in those 18 months, but it was going into marketing because we had to pay a photographer to do this. We had to pay a place to get this place out to do this scene or whatever. So it went into equipment. It went into traveling to get into here to places. Because this, like I said, this brings me back to when we was packing up the merch, going to all these different places. You know, we went to LA with all of our equipment to interview Al Harrington. That was one of the first times we had to go and bring them. We had to do it. You know what I'm saying?
How'd y'all get the interview?
I couldn't even. They followed each other. Rashad and Al Harrington followed each other, and Rashad was actually good with that. He would see who's following them. Like if you want to say Al Harrington, in this case, they were following each other already. Right. But if you want Al Harrington, you'll see who's following him that he knows and try to connect them. And that's the way it's one separation apart. You know. Yeah. So that was the way that we got a lot of guests too. We would see who's following who we want, and then contact them and say, yo, can you do an introduction? Rashad would write up the whole exactly what you want to say. He was taking his financial advisor thing where when you sign up with him, he'll give you script to send to your 5 friends to sign up with him to become so he can become your financial advisor. Wow. Taking that same method, and putting it into the and getting our guests. Yeah.
Wow. So y'all was using all y'all skills that y'all was really.
I'm telling you, every part of the puzzle was there. You just had to put it together.
That makes sense. Y'all were able to plant one seed that is basically branched into multiple businesses. some that we've already talked about, some that we've already named. Was it difficult to manage all of them simultaneously? Because now we're getting to a point where you guys are scaling the heights that have not been obtained before. So like, is it hard to, I guess, to one, visualize where you're going to, and then also is it hard to manage these, even though you spoke to delegation, is it hard to delegate as you're continuing to scale at the same time?
Well, so when I'm building something, I like to know how everything works.
Okay.
Before I give it to somebody else. Just in case they don't. It was like Nipsey Hussle said. He knew how to produce. He knew how to do it. He knew how to touch everything in the studio. Right? Having some, it's the same thing of not having a job. Like, I don't like somebody having control of like something that, you know what I'm saying? Like, they could be the determining factor. Like, if my video guy's not here, I can't shoot a podcast. Right. I don't like that feeling. Right. So I need to learn video. I need to learn sound. So I kind of built the blueprint out for every single business. I was like building it out. And then also with, you know, Troy and Rashad, we just build it out, how to do this. And then we would eventually give it to somebody else because we're working on something else. Because we have EYL trucking, we have EYL health, we have EYL vending. Right. We have, and those are like trade businesses. Those are real like brick and mortar businesses, right? But then you have the digital EYL University, you have InvestFest, you have EYL Network, we have Market Mondays, all these different businesses, and they're making like 7 to 8 figure businesses. They're big businesses, you know what I'm saying? So it comes with a lot of responsibility, and one person can't do it. Right. I was the one person that was setting it all up, the websites and the bank accounts, the automations and things like that. Right. But a lot of people now with AI and stuff and automations and it's not too hard. It sounds difficult. It's becoming much more simpler and easier to run these businesses because there's so many tools out there. Like, people scared of AI, but if you take AI as a tool, like money is a tool. Money allows you to do more things. AI is a tool. It allows you to do things more efficiently and more effective and easier where you don't have to be there. Like, if you go into any website and go to a little chat box, you're gonna first talk to AI. You're not talking to nobody. Right. You know what I'm saying? But before you have to talk to somebody. That's a tool that allows you to free up representatives. Now you don't need 10 representatives. Now you only need 2. And AI is usually answering most of those questions where you don't have to go to representative. So now that's 8 people you just got rid of. You only need 2 people answering real live questions. It's just, look at it as a tool. It should help you grow your business, not take away.
Speaking of growing, like, you guys have reached an amazing amount of success. So like, how do you decide what's next? Like, where do your interests lie? Like, where does it come from? Do you just see something and be like, oh, I want to get into it and start looking into how to blueprint it? Or do people come to you with ideas now at this point? Like, what does they look like?
Yeah, we invest in a lot of different startups and stuff like that. We have an investment club that we invest in different startups. But in terms of our businesses, I think it's just going with the flow. Like, seeing things that aren't being done or seeing things that are being done that should be done this way. And it was like Market Mondays. We see at CNBC. I think we could do better. We create Market Mondays. You know what I'm saying?
And then they actually come there. Right.
Yeah. EOY University. I mean, people weren't talking about courses like that. Right. That was like, I've been living off of residual income for 20 years. Remember that first guy I met that seen had the nice house, we became business partners. I'm a equity owner in his company now because I built out his whole infrastructure. And this is when I'm 20-something years old. I was young. To this day, I still get paid from that company, right? And that was the only bit of money that, I was working with when I was in those 18 months. Right. But it was substantially high at one point. But, as you grow, I couldn't put all my time into it. But taking that is damn the question. What was the question?
How do you choose what comes next?
So you go with what's not working, and you change it. You say, this is what I could do better. That's what, I don't know where I mentioned that. I mentioned that for a reason. Maybe I don't replay. Yeah, cut all that out. It's good, man. It's good, man. Make me look good.
You gonna look big. This is smooth so far. Yeah, honestly, phenomenal. This conversation. The gym, the special way.
So normally they ask me to do it this way because normally we always ask somebody to drop a gem towards the latter part of the interview, but I feel like this one, it hits home specifically for us. Mm-hmm. So normally when you spoke to us, you told us, one, to be different and to be consistent. And I know that those are 2 that actually are I would say, foundations for you. When you feel like there's a person that is consistent and they are different, but they're just still trying to scale, they can't find a way to do it, what would you say to those people who are working, whether it be in content creation, podcast, whatever the case may be, an aspiring media company? They're consistent, they're working, but they're just trying to scale and can't get to it. What would you encourage them to do?
They're not listening to the people. So you need to listen to the people, because if you're consistent, you're being different, and you're working hard, and it's not growing, you're not listening to the people. Like, I made a post about, I know you want to make this content. Like, you want to make what you want to make, but what you want to make might not work right now, right? You might have to put that to the side and make what's working, right? You might not want to make it, but if you want to grow and you want to take it to the next level, do the things that's working. Listen to the people. They'll tell you what you want to see, what they want to see from you, right? I noticed that my workout videos was always doing well. My family things was doing well. But some of the things that I like to talk about wasn't doing well. I stopped doing it. Now, what I did a trick was I asked the question, like I'm interviewing myself. I asked the question that I want to answer first, and then I answer it. That actually started picking up more heat, like, because now I'm like making it more conversational, like almost like my own self podcast, right? So like I would ask myself the question and answer it. You know, how do you take a company from $1,000 to $1 million, right? And I explain that, right? It's just making it more conversational, and that actually helped, because I still wanted to talk about it, but I had to change up how I had to do it, and that actually worked. Another thing that worked was me getting someone else doing the edits. I was doing them. I'm like, it's too much. I can't do it. Throwing it to someone else. Delegate. I want to grow. I want more time I want to buy back my time. I want as much as time to myself as possible. Right. So I was able to I got a whole like 5 or 6 editors now I just work with. And I send them all different things, and whoever gives me the best. But and then I'm building a team. Like I said, I was building my whole architect. Right. I'm building this architect where I could just hand this over to somebody else. Now I don't have to touch it. Now I could build 10, 15, 20 businesses, right? And if I have equity in those 10, 15, 20 businesses, you might not be seeing me sit here.
So we got you because you right in time.
Literally.
Just right.
I might be a call away. I don't know.
Man, call Diddy, man.
Word up.
Listen, when they say leisure urged, it's a wrap.
All right, this is really my last question. Then we gonna wrap this up. But I'm curious about this because we do the same thing. In that first 18 months, right? How much content was y'all putting out a week? Like,
that was the thing too. We started putting out like, once a day. Then we started twice a day. Now we up to like 4 times a day. We're putting content out. We went 18 months only putting out maybe just once or twice a day. Okay. That's a lot of content. But now we started to take that old content and repurpose it. You know what I'm saying? So and that was getting millions of views too as well. So we could do a notification on our apps and get paid thousands of dollars for that with companies. You know what I'm saying? Because we got the data, we got control of our information. Like I was using this app called Community, and it's a text messaging service, and I got it up to like 4,000 or 5,000 people in like 2 weeks. And I was like, because I wanted to export the data and put it into my my whole email blast and stuff like that. They're like, oh no, we don't give you that. Like what? Yeah, we don't share our data with you. It lives on here. I said, okay. Ended that right away. Started using easy texting. Then I was using Attentive and Superphone. So I'm using a bunch of different, but if you telling me this is like another Instagram. I'm building, we got millions of followers, but we don't have their contact information. Right. You know what I'm saying? So we're as good as Instagram. And that wasn't good. That wasn't good sitting with us. You have to control your data. And I mean, you should be doing that like right now. Like you can go to Google Forms, make a form. Just make a quick little form and just put it on your reel or put it on your stories. Yo, sign up. We got some exclusive content coming out. We want you to be the first one to listen to it. Just do something like that. You got to. Because without this data, I don't know how many followers you got all combined, but without that, you want to know your people and have access to your people.
This will be put in play expeditiously.
We appreciate that, for real.
Like before we touch the plane. But just for the people that want to continue to follow your journey, support you, and get in contact with you potentially, where can they find you at?
At MichaelJamacDonald. And that's my website too. So my website has all my brands that I work with. So it's michaeljmacdonald.com. I was promoting Earn Your Leisure, but I was like, why not promote Michael J. MacDonald? Because all Earn Your Leisure, Market Mondays, investments, everything's all in one place. So I didn't want to do like those share links that people doing something different. You know what I'm saying? Now they're coming to my site. I got a little form on there, but I haven't really been promoting it as much as I should because I'm working on, because this is the problem with these influencers and all these people that do business, anybody in business. They start getting too much business that they can't handle. When you start putting yourself out there and you start to get too much business and you can't handle it, what happens? They start putting your name in the dirt and all these different things. So you always want to over deliver. Don't be afraid of giving more than what you told them you was gonna give them. Because they're gonna remember that and they're gonna feel good. Just think about how you felt when you purchased something and it was more than what you thought it was gonna be. Right. How'd you feel? Right. You got to reverse engineer that. You know what I'm saying? You bought that Gucci bag and it's like, damn, this shit feel kind of good. I like it. Oh, and it come with the long strap. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it makes you feel better. So you didn't know it was coming with the long strap, but when you start to do things like that and you get more value than what you pay for and you feel like that, that's how you want to make people feel. And you make people feel like that. Like we had 150 classes. We would get 20, 30% off of all our events. We were just trying to give as much as value as possible. And I think that's one of the best things in business. Don't put yourself out there unless you can control all the things. But and that's why I haven't really, because I'm not in place yet. I'm almost there. I'm like 85%. Okay. But pretty soon,
Solid. Well, man, another phenomenal episode in the books. We definitely appreciate you for not only taking the time to speak with us, but
me, man.
To come down.
Y'all flew down for me, set up the studio. I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a star. You know what I'm saying?
You are a star. You are.
I'm the people's shit, man. I'm the people's person, man. I'm out there in the field. I'm out there in the field.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely, like we said, man, another legendary episode. Another episode from the Winners Culture. Shout out to Studio 524 for always looking out for us and producing the podcast. And also another special shout out to Noir Films, carrying the production, carrying all of the equipment, setting up the
holding
equipment.
the camera the whole entire time.
And y'all gonna see that this angle is extremely steady. He is holding this with his hands right now. Shout out to John. Shout out to Devin as well from Noir Productions, now Noir Films. We appreciate y'all.
Shout out to Everything Clears, Austin for coming through. Force 30 under 30 coming and get the flicks for us.
Legendary
episode for real.
Absolutely. So until next time, y'all, make sure y'all share this, like it, subscribe, send it to the family, send it to the friends. The Winners Culture, we out.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
We really appreciate it.